Hi everybody, it's Dr. Mary Gardner with Love Veterinary Hospice. It is the week of Thanksgiving, so 2 days before Thanksgiving, and I'm really looking forward to having a little bit of time off and spending time with my family and of course my furry ones. And today's Facebook Live, I want to talk about saying goodbye to your pet around the holidays, because we see it typically actually an increase in euthanasias and hospice visits during the holiday seasons, and I know that it can be very difficult for a lot of us to make that decision any time of the year, but particularly around the holidays. And why do we see an increase around the holidays? So that's what I'm going to focus on today in today's Facebook Live. So thank you for joining if you're able to make it. And I myself, I remember this time last year, I think it was maybe the Wednesday before Thanksgiving, I was dealing with my own pet, Duncan, my big 110-pound Doberman, and he was struggling with his mobility issues at the time and his early diagnostics or disease of heart disease. And so during the holiday season last year for me, it was really hard because I was managing not only his symptoms, but also my anticipatory grief of knowing that the time is going to be coming up soon, and will he even make it through the holidays? And I know a lot of our friends and family struggle with this like I said, every time of the year, but the holidays, sometimes it seems a little bit more difficult, right? So a lot of times we don't want to have any traumatic event during our holiday season, and this is certainly, a sad time. So I want to talk about this increase that we typically see. So as veterinarians, you can ask any veterinarian, and they will all say that we do see more euthanasias during the holiday season. And like I said, it's about a 10% increase during the week of Christmas. And so why might this be? So there's a few major reasons of why we see more euthanasias during the holidays. First is that families a lot of times wait because they just want to spend time and want to spend the holidays with that pet. They want to have one more Christmas, one more Thanksgiving, one more birthday or something like that, right? So we sometimes just want to enjoy just one more holiday with our pet. And so I definitely get that. Sometimes, however, we may be pushing it a little bit too long, and I want to caution that. So my first Doberman, so I was just talking about Duncan last year. Well, my first Doberman, Neo, let me think. It was 8 years ago that I was managing his cancer. So he had adrenal cancer. And for me, I really wanted to wait for right before Christmas, because we had some family out of town that wanted to come in to say goodbye to him. And so for me, I was waiting for that moment. And sadly, actually, the day after Thanksgiving, so he had some turkey, he had a good day on Thanksgiving, but the day after Thanksgiving, I actually went to go help a family with their own pet. And when I came back home, he had passed. And so he had passed without me. And I felt really bad because I had blinders on, wanting to try to push it a little bit, and so that way others can say goodbye to him. And so I just want to, ever since then, I've always been careful about making sure that it's still about them, even though, I wanted him to make it for the holidays. They don't know what Thanksgiving is, right? They don't know what Christmas is. So I do understand though that we want to celebrate one more with them. But with that being said, the second number one reason why families wait for the holidays is because we have family coming from out of town. So whether we've got kids away at college or grandparents coming into town, we might have others that want to say one more goodbye or one more hi, right, to their pet. And so we wait for that opportunity, and that's usually around the holidays when other family members can come in. And so I definitely get it, and that's what I was doing with Neo. And then another reason, and this may sound selfish, if you will, but it's not. It's that a lot of times we have to travel during the holidays and we have to leave. And our pets, when they're in that geriatric or terminal stage, are very challenging to manage. As many of you know, if you've watched my other Facebook Lives, I had a lot to manage with Duncan, and nobody was going to be able to take care of him as well as I could. And so to board your pet when they're geriatric or terminally ill can be very stressful for them. And so we want to make sure that they're kept safe, they're kept happy. And a lot of times if we have an obligation to travel during the holidays, we may have to say goodbye to them. And that actually happens throughout the year, right? So if you have to travel for business and And I know that may sound a little bit selfish to some people, but it's not. You know, we hold on to them as long as we can, and sometimes if they're not going to be safe, then absolutely we need to possibly say goodbye. Hi Rachel, thank you so much for recommending us, and 3 times that you've had angels pass. So I've lost 3 pets this year, so it's been a tough year for us. So now with having to say goodbye, whether it's during the holidays or not, there's always going to be a little bit of anticipatory grief. So what that is basically grief that comes before the actual loss. And we've just posted a link in our thread here that has some education on anticipatory grief. And that's completely normal. I think I start getting anticipatory grief when I start seeing my gray muzzles appear. So we know when they start showing signs of decline, we start to think about our lives without them. And so you may be having anticipatory grief now while you're preparing to say goodbye. So some of the things that may help is, absolutely spending more time with them. And that's actually what's good about the holidays, is a lot of times we do have time off. We get, maybe a half a day tomorrow, which would be nice on Wednesday. And then Thursday, if you're able to spend as much time with them. So absolutely devote as much time as you can. Anybody who's been a hospice patient of mine or a client of mine, the families all know that not only will I prescribe some pain management or anxiety management, but I always prescribe at least 15 minutes of unconditional love 3 times a day. And that means no phone, nobody else around, just you and your pet loving on each other, because we will always wish we had more time afterwards. So the holidays actually do provide you with that opportunity to spend a little bit more time if you have some time off, which would be nice. And then also those family members that are coming from out of town, make sure that they have on their to-do list to love on that pet a little bit. So having this time to say goodbye is also an opportunity to create the bucket list or the joy list, as I like to call it. And so a lot of our families will think about what makes their pet happy, what makes them, right? So for Duncan, I had his bucket list, and so many families have done their own, and they've also sent them to us. And we'll send you a picture. We'll post a picture later of a recent bucket list for Buddy. And so he was, and it's nothing like what they used to do as a puppy, right? So it's things like barking at the mailman, or just eating a burger at their favorite joint, as long as it doesn't upset their belly. But so making their bucket list and spending this time to do it during the next 2 months or 6 weeks will really help you, because when you're able to accomplish all those things that they love, you're providing actually the gift that you want to give them, right? And so it's making sure that their end is good. And Rachel made a great comment here: find a group on Facebook to have support after your pet passes. Absolutely. If there's a group in your area, also they're kind of hard to find, the pet loss groups, and they might meet monthly, which is great. Oftentimes there's maybe a veterinary specialty clinic or something in your area that may have a monthly meeting. At Lap of Love, if you go to our Lap of Love page, which is lapoflove.com, and you put in your zip code, if we service your area, we've done some research. If there's a pet loss group in your area, we will actually have it in the local resources page or section on that page. So if there is one, that's a good place to find it. But there's wonderful groups on Facebook, and Rachel, I totally agree, able to find support out there, because there's so many of us that are going through this time. So I love the bucket list, and making sure that you don't regret, right, the not doing the things that they love. And so that's what the holidays can provide. But I know how difficult this is. And like I say, it is normally a time where we do see an increase. And for those of you that are thinking about saying goodbye over the holidays, we actually oftentimes will help families either on Christmas or the day before or the day after. And believe it or not, sometimes it can be a very beautiful event because everybody is there. I've done saying goodbye I remember this golden retriever, and he was just underneath the Christmas tree and all. And it was around 6 o'clock at night, so it was beautiful dark lighting, and just little twinkle lights were all over his fur, and it was such a really nice experience. And so it's okay if we do have to say goodbye. And the last story I want to tell you about is actually another golden, Bailey. This was when I was out in California, and Bailey's family called me in for hospice around the first week of December, and Bailey had lymphoma, and so they wanted to just get my evaluation and look to see if he's on the best meds for his pain and his anxiety, because he's starting to pant and pace at night, which a lot of our pets, especially our dogs, start to have. And so one of the questions when I sat down and went over their goals for hospice was they wanted to know if they should put Bailey on their Christmas card. And it was such a wonderful question, and one that I took to heart. And my answer, of course, was yes, because Bailey always graced their Christmas cards. And if even Bailey did not make it to Christmas, I thought he'd be your Christmas angel, and what a better way to honor his memory than have him on your Christmas card. And so they did. Bailey actually did make it to Christmas, and I've got wonderful pictures of him on this couch with the Christmas tree and everybody behind him, and I'll post that later today just so you can see it. But we actually said goodbye to him on New Year's Eve, and so it was such a wonderful experience to be a part of that and do our best to make it through the holidays. So that's my Renee, it's never a good experience. I know from a family member's prospect, it is never a good experience, but we can make it as best as we can, right? So if we are able to do it in the home, if we are able to do it with their love and support being surrounded, then we can make it a little bit better, right? And so that's our goal, is to make it a little bit more supportive and better. So what was I going to say with Bailey? I forgot, I lost track of what I was going to say, but that was one of my favorite hospice clients that needed our help during the holidays. And that's what I was going to say. If you are questioning and you have not been to your regular veterinarian, your primary vet, or your specialist, certainly don't hesitate to reach out if we service your area, because we want to make sure that if they are with us during the holidays or any time of the year, that they have the best care, the best medication, maybe management around the house, some easy tips and tricks that we could teach you to help keep them safe and protected around the house, and hopefully as pain-free and as anxiety-free as possible, because a lot's going on too. You might be away from your house often, or a lot of people coming in and out, so we want to make sure that everybody who comes in knows, if Bailey's painful and there's people from out of town coming to pet him, we want to make sure that they may not startle him, or be careful when they touch him. So I love some people are I love it, putting them on their Christmas card. Absolutely. I used to do that. I had a Samoyed who was this white fluffy thing. She was like the best for Christmas cards. So, thank you all that have used us and have recommended the services to their friends or family. We absolutely appreciate it, because a lot of people don't know about their options. And if you are planning to say goodbye around the holidays, because usually, like I said, people are coming in from out of town, certainly, call to schedule, so that way we can make it the best time for you and your family. So if you need help at a certain time or a certain time of the day, that we could be available and make sure that we could provide that service to you. So don't hesitate, don't wait to the last minute, because that way we can also give you advice on things that you could do right beforehand. And then also, if you get a paw impression made and it's not dried yet, you can actually put like a skewer through the top, and you can make a little Christmas ornament if you have Christmas trees. So a lot of different stuff and a lot of different products out there that you can help memorialize your pet. So I hope this was helpful to some of you. I know it's hard to say goodbye at any time, and the holidays seem to be a little worse, but we do see an increase, and mostly because we have so many family coming from out of town and wanting to say goodbye. So that's okay, and we're here to support you. So if you need anything, don't hesitate to reach out to us, and we'll post some information on the comments throughout the day, and I'll be sure to post that picture of Bailey so you guys can see him in his holiday celebration. So take care, everybody. Bye.